In this video, I'm going to show you the process of turning this old stool into this toadstool. And the best part about it is I'm giving this away. I'm giving this away as a promotion for my husband's book. And at the end of the video, there'll be directions of how you can sign up for it. So I've taken apart the stool completely and I sanded it down. And it has, the wood has a lot of red staining. I don't really like red wood, so I'm going to put a little stain on it. But the only thing I have is a dark walnut. So I'm just doing a really light coat of dark walnut, and that's what it's going to look like. And it'll even out the wood tone. On the legs, these are still wet because I stripped them. Everything here I sanded, and these I just used stripper on because that's easier. And then the legs had a bunch more stuff on the bottom, and I sawed that off because the stool was too high, and this is just so much cuter just like that. So now I'm going to stain it up before I put it back together. So the way I start one of my toadstools is I just lightly sketch a frog, toad, on the back of or front of some iron-on interfacing, and I iron it onto the back of my fabric. This is going to be my front fabric. And then I'll take my machine and I just stitch around real lightly every part of, just to give myself an outline. And I don't even have to have it perfect because I'm going to change it as I go and get the exact shape that I want for my toad. This just gives me an outline that I'll be able to see from this side. So the rest of the stitching will be done from the front of the fabric after I stitch around my lines. So I've stitched all around, tracing the lines that I drew on the back. So I have the basic outline. It's not perfect. It doesn't matter because you're never even going to see these lines by the time I'm done because I'm going to fill it in so much with stitching. So the first thing I do is I go over the eye and I'm just going to fill it in. And I'm going to fill in the eye with the first layer of yellow. I use 2 colors of yellow. He gets a black center of his eye. And then there's going to be some neon green going in there too. So with all this stitching, it starts out flat, but by the time I'm done, it's going to turn into a big dome shape with all the stitching. That's just what happens. It gets distorted. So the eye has 3 colors on the outside. I've got yellow, gold, and neon green, and then the black of the center of the eye. Now I'm going to go around the outside of the eye, and I'll go around more after, a lot of times more. I'm just going around once for right now, and then I do my favorite part of the eye. Okay, now I'm going to do all the little veins. Maybe they're not veins because they're black, but just the detail of this. It's so thick because there's so many layers of thread. It's a little bit hard to even stitch through it at this point, but this trusty machine can do it. So that's what that's going to look like. I'm going to do the whole eye. So finish the eye, and the next step is the toad. So what I like to do first is make the outline a little darker. I drew the design on the back, and then I can stitch that through to the front, but I stitch it with light thread, and I want to make sure I can see it. So I'm going to go around with dark thread, and then once I get the outline, I'm going to go ahead and just start filling in. The next thing I'm doing is what I like to call just giving him toad skin. So the fabric I'm using is completely solid velvet, doesn't have much toad skin look to it. So I just go over almost the entire toad, except for his belly. We leave that plain. And I just move the needle around and make what I think looks like toad skin. So the next step is I have to give him warts, and he's going to be covered with warts on the top half of his body. and each wart has 3 to 4 colors. So I just start with the center color, and this time I'm using dark brown. I change it up all the time. But this guy, I've already decided his name is Walt, and he's getting dark brown centers of his warts. So let's go and do this, and then I'll come back with the next color. You can see I finished with all the toad skin texture. That came out pretty cool looking. So I've done all of the brown spots with a light green, and I went around each one about 8 times, and now I'm going in with the darker green so that the spots will really pop. The spots, they're warts. And on the back, I think it's really cool because you can see how much thread is and how many little tiny stitches. There's thousands of stitches, and the eye is actually hard from so many stitches. Sometimes when you get real thick stitches, it actually gets a little hard to stitch through it. So now we're going to do the third color on each wart. Going over and over. And I'll do every wart on the toad. So now I've done the 3 colors, and I'm going in with a 4th color. I felt like it needed a little more green in it. So this time I'm only going around each little wart 3 times. The other times I've gone 6 or 8 times around. So you can see they're starting to get thick, and the needle kind of bounces out a little bit when I go through the thick part because it is getting so dense with thread, but it makes a really cool look. So I'm all done with the warts. Each wart has 4 colors, and you can't really see in the picture, but you can feel the bumps. They've gotten pretty thick with thread. And look at the back, you can see how many yards of thread. I go through a lot of thread doing this project. Now I'm doing the belly, and he's gonna get, it's gonna go from yellow to white. So I'm just doing layers and layers, but I'm gonna start with the bottom layer, and I just go back and forth and create the color like that. So now I've finished with the white, and I'm going for a little bit of yellow. This one's probably too close of a match to the fabric, so I'll probably have to go over it with a brighter yellow. But I just keep adding all the layers. It's painting with your sewing machine. You're just layering colors. So I'm taking a break from his belly so I can see what color he needs added. So right now I'm going to just add some colors to his body to give him some more depth and texture. So I'm kind of using a sage green, and I'm just kind of going all over the place. Just to give him some texture and depth. And I'll probably, whoop. That happens a lot. Your threads break. You just rethread it and go on again. Speaking of thread, check out this collection of thread. There's a lot of thread here, but you need a lot of colors. And there's more there. And then I have boxes of cones of thread in the garage. We use a lot of thread. So we're getting pretty close to done. I'm happy with how he's looking. So before I decide whether I'm done or not, I like to go over all the outlines with black to give them more definition, and then I can decide how much more color or design I need to give him. So little Walter is all done, and this is what the back of him looks like, just filled with thread stitches. Thousands of stitches. So now I've cut him out, and I want him to be nice and round. So I'm putting some batting behind him, and then I'm going to center him. I went through all my fabrics and I laid him over it. And I picked this blue one because I liked it the best with his coloring. So now I'm going to stitch all around and just tuck in all the batting as I go, and he'll be attached to the fabric before I upholster the stool. So little Walt is all stitched on, and he's got his padding in him so you can see, and it's hard to see on the pictures, but he's got so much depth and texture with all that padding behind him. So he's gonna go on so it's the wooden base, and then it has foam and some extra padding, and then he gets wrapped all around this, so he's nice and fat and round. So this is all gonna get stapled on here. So here's the finished toadstool, little Walt, and he's got a little bug inside for a snack in case he gets hungry. I love how it came out. It's absolutely adorable. And there was only one small tragedy that happened when I was nailing the fabric to the top. I smashed my finger, but I'm gonna live. I would show you, but it's too gruesome. I don't think anybody would want to see what's under this Band-Aid. So the reason we're giving away this toadstool is because my husband, Kevin, wrote this book called Reset. It's a really good book, and one of the characters in the book is an artist, and one of the things she does is she makes a toadstool. So all you have to do is sign up for his mailing list, which is in the description, and you can win this fabulous one-of-a-kind toadstool. So sign up for the mailing list.